Have you ever looked at the massive stone pillars of a downtown bank branch and wondered how they actually afford to build skyscrapers? They did not build those empires by saving pennies in a checking account. They built them using your money. For your entire life, you have been taught a specific narrative about money, debt, and risk. You were told to work hard, save your cash, avoid debt at all costs, and pay off your house as fast as humanly possible. Meanwhile, the wealthiest individuals and corporations on the planet are playing a completely different game. They are not running away from banks. They are partnering with them. Welcome to a paradigm shift. Make the bank work for you is not about cutting out your daily coffee or clipping coupons to save a few bucks. It is about understanding the mechanics of the modern financial system and flipping the script. Right now, the bank is making a fortune off of your deposits. It is time you learn how to turn the tables and make the bank fund your wealth. We are going to dismantle the old, outdated rules of money. You will discover how the rich use debt as a tool, not a trap. You will learn the exact frameworks to borrow smartly, acquire income-producing assets, and protect yourself from the pitfalls that keep the middle class broke. If you are tired of playing defense with your finances, this is your playbook for going on offense. Let us get to work. Chapter 1. Good debt versus bad debt. You have been conditioned to treat all debt like a disease. The moment you owe someone money, a little voice in your head tells you that you are losing. But the reality is far more nuanced. To make the bank work for you, you have to separate emotion from mathematics. You must understand the fundamental difference between good debt and bad debt. Let us start with the trap most people fall into: bad debt. Bad debt is any money you borrow to buy something that goes down in value or produces zero income. When you swipe a credit card at an 18% interest rate to finance a week-long vacation, a designer wardrobe, or a depreciating liability like a brand new car right off the lot, you are essentially stealing from your future self. You are paying a premium for the privilege of losing net worth. The bank loves bad debt because it keeps you entirely dependent on your paycheck. You wake up and go to work just to make the minimum monthly payment, while the institution silently collects the profit. It is a cycle designed to keep you exactly where you are. Good debt, on the other hand, is the quiet, powerful engine of the wealthy. Good debt is money you borrow to purchase an asset that puts cash in your pocket every single month, consistently. Think about financing a rental property where the tenant's monthly rent check completely covers the mortgage, pays for the upkeep, and still leaves you with positive cash flow. Think about taking out a strategic business loan to scale a company that generates a massive return on the initial investment. With good debt, you are not actually the one paying the interest out of your own labor. Your asset is paying the interest. You are just the orchestrator who gets to keep the equity and the passive income. The rich do not use their own money to get richer. They use other people's money. They go to the bank, present a solid plan for an income-producing asset, and let the bank take the upfront capital risk. The moment you grasp this, your entire worldview shifts. Debt is no longer a shackle. It is leverage. It is a financial crowbar that allows you to lift heavy assets you could never move with your own two hands. But recognizing the difference on paper is only half the battle. Knowing what good debt looks like does not matter if you freeze up at the thought of signing a loan document. The fear of owing money is deeply ingrained in us, and until you confront the mental roadblocks keeping you playing small, you will never pick up that financial crowbar. The real barrier is not the math. It is your mindset. Chapter 2. The psychology of borrowing. Why does the word debt trigger an actual physical response in your body? For most of us, growing up in America meant hearing the same warnings around the kitchen table. We watched our parents stress over mortgage rates, fight over credit card bills, and celebrate the rare moments when a car was finally paid off. We internalized a very specific lesson. Owing money means you are not free. That psychological baggage is the single biggest hurdle preventing you from building real, generational wealth. To make the bank work for you, you have to completely reprogram how your brain responds to borrowing. You have to stop viewing debt as a moral failing and start viewing it as a cold, calculated business transaction. When a major corporation borrows $500 million to build a new manufacturing plant, the CEO does not lose sleep feeling guilty. They do not view that loan as a burden. They view it as a strategic maneuver. They know the new plant will generate $1 billion in revenue. The loan is just the bridge getting them from point A to point B. Yet, when everyday people think about borrowing money to buy their first duplex or start a side hustle, they are paralyzed by the fear of what happens if things go wrong. This fear stems from a lack of financial education. When you do not understand the math behind an investment, borrowing feels like gambling, and you should never gamble with the bank's money. The psychology of the intelligent borrower is rooted in absolute certainty. The wealthy do not borrow blindly. They borrow based on strict, unforgiving numbers. They analyze the cash flow, they stress test the worst-case scenarios, and they only sign on the dotted line when they know the asset will pay for itself. To shift your mindset, you must stop asking, "How much will this cost me?" and start asking, "How much will this make me?" When you focus entirely on the cost of the debt, you remain trapped in a scarcity mindset. You obsess over the interest rate instead of the return on investment. But when you focus on what the capital can acquire, you step into an abundance mindset. You start seeing opportunities everywhere. The bank is not a scary authority figure waiting to punish you. It is a vendor. It sells money. And just like any other vendor, you want to buy their product only when you can use it to create something far more valuable. Once you conquer the emotional fear of borrowing, you unlock the ability to play the game at a completely different level. You are finally ready to stop working for every dollar and start using the bank's money to multiply your efforts. It is time to learn how to apply the mechanics of leverage. Chapter 3. Leverage as a wealth tool. Imagine trying to lift a 2,000-pound boulder with your bare hands. It is physically impossible. You can strain, sweat, and push all you want, but that rock is not moving. Now, slide a long, solid steel pry bar under that boulder and push down. Suddenly, what was impossible becomes effortless. That steel bar is leverage. In the financial world, the bank's money is your steel bar, and the boulder is the massive wealth you are trying to build. Leverage is the ultimate wealth accelerator. It is the exact mechanism that allows you to control a large, expensive asset using only a fraction of your own cash. Let us look at how this plays out in the real world. Say you have $20,000 in savings. You could take that cash and buy $20,000 worth of stocks. If that stock portfolio goes up by 10% over the year, you make $2,000. Not a bad return, but it is certainly not life-changing. Now let us apply leverage. You take that same $20,000, but instead of buying stocks, you use it as a 20% down payment on a $100,000 rental property. The bank steps in and covers the remaining $80,000. You now control a six-figure asset. If that property appreciates by that same 10%, its value jumps to $110,000. You just made $10,000 in equity on your original $20,000 investment. That is a 50% return on your actual cash, not to mention the monthly rental income you are collecting. You used the bank's money to multiply your earning power. The bank provided the bulk of the capital, but you get to keep 100% of the appreciation and the profit. This is how the wealthy fast-track their financial independence. They do not wait decades to save up enough cash to buy assets outright. They use a strategic fraction of their own money. Borrow the rest and let the asset pay off the loan over time. But here is the catch. The bank does not just hand out leverage to anyone who walks through the lobby doors. They have a strict system for deciding who gets the steel bar and who gets left trying to lift the boulder with their bare hands. To access their capital, you have to prove you are worth the risk. You have to speak their language, and that language is entirely dictated by 3 little digits attached to your name. Chapter 4. Credit Score Power. Your credit score is not just a random number assigned to you by a mysterious bureau. It is your financial resume. It is the VIP access pass to the cheapest money on the planet. Most people only think about their credit score when they want to buy a new car or apply for a rewards card. That is thinking entirely too small. When you are playing the wealth-building game, your credit score is the absolute foundation of your borrowing power. Banks are not in the business of guessing. They are in the business of calculating risk. When you ask them for money, they want to know exactly how likely you are to pay it back. Your credit score is the mathematical answer to that question. If your score is low, the bank sees you as a high-risk gamble. They might still lend you money, but they are going to charge you a massive premium for it in the form of high interest rates. That expensive money eats directly into your profits and makes it incredibly difficult to build wealth. If your score is exceptional, the red carpet rolls out. The bank views you as a safe harbor for their capital. Because you are a low risk, they will offer you their absolute lowest interest rates. This is where the magic happens. Cheap money is the secret ingredient to massive leverage. When you borrow money at 4% and invest it in an asset that yields 10%, you are capturing a massive spread. That spread is pure profit, and it only exists because your credit score gave you access to prime rates. Treat your credit profile like your most valuable digital asset, because it is. Protect it relentlessly. Keep your credit utilization low, never miss a payment, and monitor your reports for errors like a hawk. You want to walk into any lending institution knowing you hold the cards. When your credit is flawless, you are no longer begging the bank for a favor. You are offering them a secure, profitable partnership. But having the key to the vault does not mean you should empty it blindly. Having the power to borrow massive amounts of cheap capital is thrilling, but it introduces a new dynamic into your life. The bank will give you the money, but they expect you to know how to handle the heat. Chapter 5. Interest, Risk, and Responsibility. Leverage is a lot like fire. Kept in the fireplace, it will heat your home and keep you alive. Let it escape into the living room, and it will burn your entire house to the ground. Making the bank work for you requires a profound respect for the double-edged nature of debt. You have to master the delicate balance between interest, risk, and absolute responsibility. The fundamental rule of borrowing for wealth is that the return on your asset must clearly and consistently exceed the cost of the money you borrowed. This is known as the interest rate spread. If the bank charges you 6% interest on a loan, and the business or property you buy with it only generates a 5% return, you are bleeding out. You have created a negative spread. But if that asset generates 12%, you pay the bank their 6%, and you keep the remaining 6% as profit. The bank gets their steady, guaranteed return, and you get wealthy off the difference. However, the wealthy do not just plan for the sunny days, they ruthlessly prepare for the storms. Markets shift, real estate goes vacant, businesses face unexpected downturns. If your entire strategy relies on everything going perfectly 100% of the time, you are setting yourself up for financial disaster. The bank will not care if your tenant lost their job or your supply chain broke down. They expect their payment on the first of the month, every single month. This is where risk management becomes your best friend. Responsible borrowing means you never over-leverage yourself to the point where one bad month wipes you out. It means building robust cash reserves before you take on debt. It means running your numbers through worst-case scenarios before you ever sign the loan documents. Ask yourself, if this asset stops producing income for 6 months, can I still cover the debt service without losing my shirt? Taking on bank debt is a massive responsibility. It requires discipline, emotional control, and a rock-solid business plan. You are stepping out of the amateur league and playing with the professionals. You know how to access the capital, and you know how to manage the risk. The next critical step is knowing exactly what to target, because getting the money is only half the equation. The real wealth is built by knowing precisely what to buy. Chapter 6. Borrowing for assets, not status. Look around your neighborhood. You probably see brand new luxury SUVs in the driveways, massive high-definition televisions glowing through the living room windows, and people wearing watches that cost more than a college education. Society has trained us to look at these things and think, that person is wealthy. But in reality, what you are usually looking at is a mountain of high-interest consumer debt. That is the ultimate trap of the middle class. Borrowing money to buy status. When you use the bank's money to buy a depreciating liability, something that loses value the second you take ownership of it, You are actively destroying your net worth to look successful to people you do not even know. The bank makes a fortune off the interest. The dealership makes a massive profit, and you are left holding the bag, trading hours of your life at work just to maintain an illusion. To make the bank work for you, you have to fundamentally change your target. You must stop borrowing for status and start borrowing exclusively for assets. An asset is very simple to define. It is something that puts money into your pocket regardless of whether you go to work that day. When a wealthy individual takes out a massive loan, they are not doing it to buy a depreciating toy. They are borrowing money to buy an apartment building, a self-storage facility, a piece of heavy machinery to lease out, or a scalable business. They use the bank's capital to buy a machine that prints money. The income generated by that asset pays the bank back, covers all the expenses, and leaves a layer of pure profit for the borrower. This requires a massive shift in ego. You have to be willing to drive the reliable 10-year-old sedan while your tenant pays off the mortgage on the fourplex you just bought. You have to endure the quiet grind of building actual wealth while everyone around you is loudly showcasing their debt. But a few years down the line, when your assets are generating enough passive cash flow to buy that luxury car in cash without you lifting a finger, the math makes perfect sense. The question is, once you find the right asset, how do you get the bank to give you the absolute best terms to buy it? Chapter 7. Negotiating with banks. Walk into any major bank branch and pay attention to the architecture. The high ceilings, the thick marble floors, the heavy mahogany desks. All of it is carefully designed to communicate power, stability, and authority. It is supposed to make you feel small. It conditions you to walk in, sit down, and accept whatever interest rate or loan terms they slide across the desk, because, after all, they are the bank. Erase that mentality completely. Banks are retail businesses. They do not sell shoes or groceries. They sell money. And just like any other business, they need customers to survive. If they do not lend money out, they do not generate interest, and they go bankrupt. Once you realize that the bank needs your business just as much as you need their capital, the power dynamic shifts. You are no longer begging for a favor. You are stepping to the table to negotiate a mutual partnership. Everything is negotiable. The interest rate, the origination fees, the prepayment penalties, the length of the loan, all of it is up for discussion. But you can only negotiate from a position of strength. If your credit is terrible and your business plan is weak, you have to take whatever they give you. However, if you followed the previous steps, if your credit score is flawless, your cash reserves are strong, and you are bringing them a highly profitable asset to finance, you hold the cards. The smartest borrowers never talk to just one bank. They shop their loan to 3 or 4 different institutions. They walk into a local credit union and say, "The massive national bank down the street offered me 6% on this commercial loan. I would love to keep my business local. Can you beat it?" Banks will compete for prime borrowers. They will waive fees and slash rates to get your signature on that contract. You must view the loan officer not as a judge, but as a salesperson. Do not be intimidated by the marble floors. Bring your spreadsheets, know your numbers cold, and do not be afraid to walk away if the terms do not fit your exact wealth-building model. Because even if you secure the perfect loan for the perfect asset, there is one final psychological hurdle that takes down countless ambitious borrowers. Chapter 8. Avoiding the debt trap. Success is a dangerous thing. When you start executing this strategy, when you buy your first few cash-flowing assets, build your credit to an elite level, and prove you know how to handle leverage, something interesting happens. The banks start chasing you. Suddenly, the money is everywhere. You are getting calls from lenders offering you massive lines of credit, pre-approvals for high-limit cards, and home equity loans with limits you never thought possible. This is the exact moment where so many smart people lose everything. They fall into the debt trap. The debt trap happens when you take the access to capital you earned through discipline and start applying it to your lifestyle. You look at a $100,000 line of credit secured against your rental properties and think, "I could use 30 grand of this to remodel my kitchen at home." or maybe take the family to Europe for a month. You blur the lines between borrowing for wealth and borrowing for consumption. The moment you use leverage to fund your lifestyle, the math breaks. Your kitchen remodel does not produce a monthly rent check. Your European vacation does not generate quarterly dividends. You have taken on the liability of the loan without creating the income stream to pay it off. Now, you have to use the cash flow from your actual assets, or worse, your personal paycheck, to cover the debt service on your toys. Avoiding the debt trap requires an ironclad set of personal rules. You have to build a firewall between your consumer life and your investing life. Treat your borrowing power as sacred. It is ammunition meant entirely for acquiring more income-producing assets. If you want the vacation, the kitchen remodel, or the boat, you do not borrow for it. You use the bank's money to buy another asset, and you wait until the cash flow from that new asset pays for the toy in cash. Discipline is the only shield you have against the temptation of easy money. You have learned how to identify good debt, how to conquer the fear of borrowing, how to weaponize your credit, and how to negotiate like a professional. You know how to stay out of the trap. Now it is time to put the entire machine together and scale your wealth to a level you never thought possible. Chapter 9. Building financial leverage safely. You have acquired your first cash-flowing asset. The tenant or the business is paying down the loan. The bank is happy, and you are seeing the math work in real time. The natural instinct is to press the gas pedal to the floor and buy 10 more assets immediately. But scaling your wealth requires a completely different mindset than starting. To build financial leverage safely, you have to engineer a foundation that can withstand an economic earthquake. Think about building a skyscraper. If you want to build a 10-story building, you need a solid foundation. But if you want to build a 100-story tower, you have to dig incredibly deep into the bedrock before you ever start building up. In the wealth game, your bedrock is cash reserves and multiple exit strategies. The bank is happy to give you a loan when times are good, but the intelligent borrower assumes the worst will happen. What happens if the real estate market drops? What happens if interest rates spike and your adjustable rate mortgage resets? Building leverage safely means keeping a massive moat of liquidity around your investments. You do not dump every last penny of your cash into a down payment. You keep 6 to 12 months of operating expenses sitting in a liquid account. If a property sits vacant or a business hits a dry spell, you do not panic. You use your cash reserves to comfortably make the bank payment while you fix the problem. The bank never even knows there was a hiccup. Safety also means locking in long-term fixed debt whenever possible. Variable rates are a gamble where the bank holds all the cards. When you lock in a 30-year fixed loan at a low rate, you are effectively shorting the dollar. As inflation makes the cost of everything go up, your mortgage payment stays exactly the same, becoming cheaper in real terms every single year. You are creating a fortress around your wealth. You are not just getting richer, you are making yourself bulletproof. Chapter 10. Becoming financially strategic. Up until now, you have been playing the game one transaction at a time. You find an asset, you secure a loan, you collect the cash flow. But to reach the absolute pinnacle of wealth, you have to stop looking at individual deals and start seeing the entire board. You have to transition from a transactional borrower to a financially strategic powerhouse. Becoming financially strategic means building an ecosystem where your money and the bank's money are working together in constant motion. It is about utilizing advanced financial tools that the middle class rarely touches. Instead of just taking out traditional mortgages, the strategic borrower opens business lines of credit. They use a revolving credit line to fund renovations, force the appreciation of an asset, refinance that asset with a traditional bank loan to pull their initial capital back out, and then pay off the credit line. They recycle the exact same money over and over again to buy multiple assets without ever depleting their own original cash. This level of strategy requires a dedicated team. You are no longer acting as a lone wolf. The wealthy have a Rolodex that includes a brilliant CPA, an aggressive but legal tax strategist, and a private banker who knows their portfolio inside and out. You want a relationship with a banker who has your direct cell phone number, someone who understands your long-term vision and can go to bat for you in the underwriting room. Being strategic also means understanding the tax code. The government actually incentivizes you to use debt to build housing and businesses. The interest you pay on good debt is often fully tax-deductible, reducing your overall tax burden while your net worth skyrockets. You are combining the power of the bank's capital with the massive tax advantages of owning assets. This is the ultimate evolution. You have gone from fearing the bank to partnering with them, and finally, to using their system as a customized engine for your own financial empire. Conclusion. For generations, the banking system has been a mystery designed to keep the average person trapped in a cycle of deposits and consumer debt. You hand over your paycheck, the bank lends it out at a premium, and you are left fighting for table scraps. But that cycle ends right now. You now possess the exact blueprint to make the bank work for you. You know the difference between the destructive force of bad debt and the wealth-building power of good debt. You have reprogrammed your psychology to view borrowing not as a burden, but as a calculated tool for leverage. You know how to bulletproof your credit, negotiate from a position of absolute power, and buy assets that pay you while you sleep. The system is not rigged against you if you know how to play by the rules of the wealthy. The vault is wide open. The capital is sitting there, waiting for someone with the discipline, the knowledge, and the courage to put it to work. It is time to stop working for your money, and it is time to stop letting the bank get rich off your ignorance. Go out there, secure the capital, buy the asset, and build your empire.